Targeting matrix complete. Firing sequence primed. The orbital weapon is now at our disposal.
Just in time, Rachel. We are detecting a Gaalsien carrier crossing the perimeter. Fire when ready.
Let's see what this thing can do.
Kapisi copies.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of the Khar-Toba mission in Homeworld Deserts of Kharak.
Standing by.
So let's see if this thing works, huh?
Target area set. Firing.
And apparently it does.
Reading.
Intel. The weapon is fully operational and under my control.
Cruiser into the... Nice work, Rachel. Fire at will.
Hostile contact. Roger that.
Alright, so the Ashinta has shown up here on our doorstep. And obviously the weapon works, the orbital weapon works, so we can use that. But it does have a fairly lengthy recharge time. So we're going to be using a combination of cruise missiles and the orbital weapon.
A railgun is taking effective fire. Alert, hostile siege cruiser sighted. Alert, enemy heavy
There's our
cruiser
missile.
detected. One of our turrets is taking fire.
And yeah, we hit behind it.
Hostile strike craft down.
Well, hopefully our railguns
Alert,
will take
turret
care of
load
it. We got some...
We got something on the
what is that?
horizon.
That's an honor guard cruiser coming up behind us.
Green line confirmed. Engines hot. Receiving. On our way. Battle report. Hostile siege cruiser eliminated. Enemy airstrike inbound.
Well, seems like the Gaalsien are
Hostile
really coming at us,
down.
particularly with airstrikes
Hostile
now,
production cruiser verified.
and everything
Take
else.
it out. Hostile range craft destroyed.
So, as we saw at the end of the last mission, the scan, Rachel's scan, revealed the first city, that is Khar-Toba, which has a design that, or a layout that looks suspiciously like a certain design or insignia that the Kushan will adopt later
Support
on.
cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. 210. Railgun reading it. Strike craft destroyed.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
Intel. There might be a way to focus the weapon. Update to follow.
AA turret taking fire. Unidentified hostile incoming. Authenticate.
Man, they are really coming at us, aren't they?
Alert. Anti-air turret post destroyed. Enemy railgun eliminated.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Come on, I want to get rid of that siege cruiser over there.
Battle report. Hostile battle cruiser eliminated. Receiving 5x5. Set new heading. Strike fighter taking fire. Attention. Battle report. Enemy production cruiser destroyed. Coordinate alert. Siege cruiser verified in the AO. Respond. Hostile detected. Visual unconfirmed.
There we go, we got it. Here comes a bomber.
Confirmed. Enemy siege cruiser destroyed.
Ready. We're moving.
Alert. Hostile strike fighter in circulation. Green line confirmed. Hostile
Let's start moving our forces
battle
here.
cruiser is taking fire. Position marked by 5. Set new heading.
Of course, there is a bit of a danger if
Enemy
we're
armor
really
bearing
bunched up, we can get
This is
taken
Rachel,
out
go
by a
ahead.
siege cruiser. By its artillery,
Orbital
that is.
platform ready.
Blast it
Firing.
with the kill sat, please.
Enemy production cruiser sighted. Engage and
Strike fighter
destroy.
coordinates dialed
Well,
in.
once you hit it with a cruise missile or the orbital weapon, then it destroys a lot of the
Alert.
forces
Hostile
directly
battle
around
cruiser
it.
inbound.
Then we can kind of send in our strike fighters and hammer it with airstrikes.
PC copies.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
But alas, more will follow.
Anti-air turret under fire. Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Attention. Hostile armor elimination. Tracking target. Combat relay.
Alright, the Ashinta is almost dead. Once we kill the Ashinta, then the real fun begins.
Hostile bomber
Oh
on
yeah.
approach. Alert, hostile siege cruiser sighted. Hostile bomber down. Go for ranged. Coordinates confirmed. Heavy missiles loaded and ready. Copy. Coordinates set. Crew ready. New coordinates verified. Be advised. Hostile carrier.
Northern Kithid of Kharak. Everything you have achieved, the battles you have won, they were preordained by the great Sajuk himself. To believe otherwise is vanity. His will is our destiny. But words alone will not stay your hand. That much you have made clear. You have brought this darkness. You have chosen war. May the blood sand quiet the great slumber of Sajuk.
We have never seen this class of Gaalsien ship before.
Make ready.
It appears to be some kind of supercarrier, a Gaalsien flagship.
Enemy armor disabled.
The Gaalsien Sa is aboard. Defeat it at all costs.
Intel, science. I configured the beam's aperture to provide a more intense shot over a smaller radius. Both beam modes are available.
New sector designated.
Alright, so this is the Gaalsien flagship. The Hand of Sajuk with the Gaalsien Kith Sa aboard. That is the leader of the Kith.
Get this cruiser into the fray.
So this will be fun.
Away.
It basically chases you around the map, so you need to keep the Kapisi and all of your forces moving, essentially, and run away! More or less. And you need to hit it with long-range strikes like the orbital weapon.
Tracking.
Let's take a shot at it.
Firing.
Moving to escort position.
I think we missed.
Standing by.
Yeah, I think we hit behind it.
Move order confirmed.
But anyway, keep your forces moving. You do not want to get close to this thing. It has heavy guns on it, heavy rail guns. It has artillery batteries on it. It launches missile barrages at you. So no, you cannot take this thing out with the
Base
Kapisi.
runner is en route.
I mean, you can try. You can damage it, of course, right? If you want to just Zerg rush this thing and just blast at it, then sure, but you're going to lose a lot of forces in the
Pilot
process.
confirmed. Returning to carrier.
Attention.
Anyway, luckily we collected all of the resources before this.
I've never seen anything like it. We must engage with extreme caution.
On that artillery.
Yeah, we have over 132,500 resources, so we have plenty to burn. We're just going to be shooting cruise missiles and the orbital weapon at this thing, and occasionally maybe get an airstrike in there. I'm retiring all of the salvagers. We do not need them anymore at all.
Reporting.
Make ready.
But indeed, this thing is far more heavily armed and armored than the Kapisi. It's way more powerful, so don't do anything stupid. My best advice is just keep it at range and just hit it with long-range weaponry.
Respond. Go ahead. Roll out. AA turret taking
Plus,
fire.
it sends a lot of stuff at you, so this is where the difficulty of the game really kind of
Set new heading.
is befitting of the final mission. Like, the final mission is kind of tough, in a way.
Reading.
The Gaalsien flagship has long-range missile strike capability.
Red alert. Command carrier taking fire.
Yeah, and we just lost 2
Alert.
missile batteries
Battery lost.
there
Enemy
in that
production
strike.
cruiser has appeared in the AO. Ready, set.
And we got lots of stuff coming at us.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Yeah, the flagship just produces and produces and produces stuff.
Alert. Anti-air turret post destroyed. Hostile armor eliminated. Interceptor taking fire.
The Gaalsien flagship has sustained minor damage to primary systems.
Kapisi copy. Enemy light attack vehicle marked on approach. This is the captain.
Alright, we got a bunch of forces coming at us.
Gaalsien
And as
area
usual, I am
inbound.
actually somewhat,
Enemy
you know,
airstrike
concerned
inbound.
with keeping my units alive. I try to be a benevolent and magnanimous commander. You know,
Post is under fire.
people tend to like
Alert.
that.
Hostile battle cruiser
Rachel,
inbound.
why don't you EMP them?
Enemy armor on approach. Enemy contacts on the board.
Yeah, if we can hold them back with artillery and all
Alert.
that.
Sensor post lost. Alert. Rachel is under fire.
There we go, zapped a bunch of them.
Strike craft destroyed. A turret is under fire. Alert. A turret post just went down.
It's okay, that's why I put the turret post there.
Readjust for target. Hostile interceptor down.
Oh, they're shooting an EMP at us.
Enemy railgun firing on friendly.
Well, that won't help you very much.
Battle report. Enemy honor guard cruiser destroyed. Combat relay.
Ooh, we
Hostile
might
cruiser
lose an
eliminated.
honor guard cruiser there.
Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position.
Blashed. Oh well.
Reporting. New coordinates
Them's the
verified.
breaks. Yeah, you will lose some units most likely in this part of the mission anyway. If you thought the Ashinta was easy, then don't expect the same thing from the flagship.
Go
Now,
ahead.
annoyingly, we
Check
just
new
have
heading.
to, you know, basically
Alert. Hostile siege cruiser sighted. Make ready.
wait around and
Alert. Enemy heavy
wait for
cruiser
the
detected.
orbital weapon to recharge or
Hostile
our
production cruiser verified.
cruise
Take it
missiles
out.
to recharge.
Op ready. Move confirmed.
Armor, go
And
ahead.
unfortunately,
New
they
heading
both
set.
have different and very
Op
long
ready.
recharge
Order
times.
confirmed.
This is Rachel. Go ahead.
And no matter how many times you destroy the units around the flagship, it's always going to just produce
Uplink
more.
positive. Firing.
Hostile armor
It
incoming.
outproduces
Hostile
you.
craft
Gaalsien
It
area
produces
units
far
inbound.
more than you could in the same amount of time.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Battle report. Hostile siege cruiser eliminated. We've detected something. Can you confirm visual?
And as you can
Alert.
see, it sends
Hostile
large
strike
waves
fighter
of strike
report
fighters at you. It sends bombers and strike fighters and fairly large waves at you, so it can do some damage with its aircraft.
Enemy armor disabled.
It's basically a super carrier.
Hostile interceptor destroyed. Anti-air turret under fire. Attention. Alert. Anti-air turret post lost.
Fighter coordinates dialed in.
Sensor post is
I suppose
taking
on the
fire.
upshot, using the orbital weapon with Rachel doesn't require any RUs, doesn't cost anything.
Reporting. Set new heading. Alert. Sensor post destroyed. Make ready.
Unfortunately, there's just so much bloody anti-air defenses in this area that we can't really use our bombers or gunships. I suppose we could,
Cruise missile launch ready.
but
Clear
everything
for
it sends
alert.
at you
Hostile
almost
battle
always
cruiser
has
inbound.
missile batteries escorting it. So let's fire a cruise missile at those guys. There we go, boom. Gotta love me some cruise missiles.
Enemy
And we got an
armor on
honor guard
approach.
cruiser coming at us through the Khar-Toba there. Try to be sneaky, huh? Well, not for long.
Reporting.
We've got hostile on sensors. Confirm visual.
Target area set.
Alright, the
Firing.
flagship is turned towards us.
Kapisi copy.
Let's get moving.
Kapisi
Get her moving.
Heavy artillery loaded. Green line confirmed. New coordinates verified. Railgun reading you. Green line confirmed. Go for armor.
Armor ready. On our way. Reading.
Luckily, the flagship just moves fairly slow. It just kind of lumbers around.
Standing by.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
Hostile armor
Ooh,
eliminated.
targeted Rachel with that
Enemy
barrage.
airstrike inbound.
Luckily, it didn't hit her directly.
Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Battle cruiser is facing resistance. Position marked.
Ooh, looks
Ready.
like Group 8's kind of stuck there. Group 8, come on.
Hostile interceptor down. The sensors post
Get out of
under
there.
fire.
It's gonna blow.
Roger. Alert. Sensor post lost.
Set new heading. Armor, go ahead. Sent message. Roger that. Coordinates confirmed.
AA turret taking fire.
Reporting. Move out.
Alert. Siege cruiser verified in the AO.
Anyway, Rachel has calibrated the orbital weapon. You can use a large, wide area strike or a narrow
Alert.
strike.
Enemy heavy cruiser
The narrow strike,
detected.
of course, is more
Launch
concentrated.
EMP. Reading you.
More concentrated, you know, extra strength,
Alert. Anti-air turret post destroyed.
fast
We got
acting,
something on the
quick
horizon.
relief.
Waiting for eyes on to authenticate.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Green line confirmed. Engine. One of our turrets is taking fire.
Receiving. Science officer en route.
Alright, Rachel, you zapped them.
Enemy
Let's
armor
get out of there.
Ready.
Alert. Turret post destroyed. Rachel is taking fire. Respond. Strike fighter taking hostile
Operate.
fire. Artillery cruiser
Yeah,
in contact.
that's what a
Provide
missile
fire
barrage
support.
does. It causes quite a bit of
This
damage.
is Rachel. Go ahead. New heading set.
Ready.
Luckily, they're
Get us
targeting the
underway.
Kapisi in a way which can take the damage.
Support ready.
Unknown inbound. Designating hostile. Alert. Battle cruiser is taking fire. Position marked.
Runner. Uplink positive. Firing.
Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Make ready.
Gaalsien air units
See if
inbound.
we can hit it with a Tom Cruise
Target set
missile.
launch. Battle report. Hostile battle cruiser eliminated. Alert.
Hey, it
Hostile
flew right through
strike
the
fighter in
the
circulation.
Khar-Toba.
The flagship has suffered significant damage.
Attention. Hostile armor eliminated.
Armor ready.
Hostile light attack
Alright, let's
vehicle
get everyone
detected.
moving.
We're moving. Alert. Hostile
coming for
cruiser
us.
sighted.
Go for artillery.
Hostile on
Maneuver out.
sensors. Authentication pending. Coordinates verified.
Reporting.
Hostile
Rachel, I
interceptor
can use your
destroyed.
EMP,
Fire
please.
Reading. New coordinates verified.
Long-range scanners are tracking contacts in the AO.
Confirmed. Alerts 2 and 3 just went red. On our way.
Hostile strike craft down.
In a way, it's kind of lucky that the artillery and the battle cruisers kind of lag behind because they can cover our rear, so to speak.
Runner.
Confirmed. Enemy siege cruiser destroyed.
Go ahead. Course set.
Battle report.
Alright,
Enemy
I might
cruiser
sacrifice a
destroyed.
few aircraft here just to shoot at them.
Interceptor taking hostile fire.
Oh, those ones came out okay.
Reading.
Ready.
It's kind of like you're an aircraft carrier on Dixie Station, you know? I suppose Dixie or Yankee Station.
Ready. Set.
Probably Yankee Station, right? Flying downtown, going downtown, flying into Hanoi for a
Strike
strike.
fighter approach vector dialed in.
Face just about every caliber of
systems online.
anti-air
Ready to burn.
imaginable, plus surface-to-air
Heading
missiles.
set.
Go ahead. Coordinates confirmed.
Enemy armor on approach. Alert. Hostile battle cruiser inbound. Hostile detected. Visual unconfirmed.
Gaalsien air units inbound. Taking missile fire. We need ground support.
This is Rachel. Go ahead. Orbital
Okay, let's
platform
aim right
ready.
there. Fire.
Firing.
Well, we've got it down to just below half health.
Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Interceptor down.
Alright, our cruise missiles are just about recharged.
All hands. Alert. Support craft has been engaged. Warning. Carrier hull passing 75%. Push her
Let's
through.
move them.
New heading set.
Get 'em
Go for
moving.
armor. Seal vents, we're moving downrange. Coordinates confirmed. Watch for silhouettes. Move confirmed.
I still don't know why I even keep Group 1 around.
Copy.
They're not even
On our
doing
way.
anything. I'm not
Set
even
new
using
heading.
them.
Go for armor.
But hey,
Lock us down for long-range travel.
they've been with
Coordinates
us since the
confirmed.
beginning.
Moving into escort formation.
They'll be the
Give us
ones
your
that write
target.
the history when we're all gone.
Coordinates verified. It's a long haul.
Oh, I know it's a long haul. But would you rather
We're ready.
face a massive warship?
Confirmed. Get this battle cruiser into the unidentified contact. Confirmed. Designated hostile. Verified.
Standing by. Copy. On our way.
Ready to give him hell. Hostile armor incoming.
Support ready.
Hostiles designated. Trackers assigned. Alert. Rachel is in contact. Enemy production cruiser sighted.
Target EMP.
Engage and destroy.
EMP.
Alert. Enemy heavy cruiser
Green light
detected.
confirmed.
Cruiser copies. On our way. Enemy armor disabled.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in. Keep on target.
Green line confirmed. Engines on.
Full power. Adjusting fire.
Alert. Hostile strike fighter in circulation on 9 for 10.
And I just saw a railgun just shoot something practically from across the map.
Siege cruiser verified in the AO. Respond. We got a railgun under fire.
Yeah, we're taking aircraft all over the
Alert.
place.
Railgun down.
Tracking.
We're coming out of the walls! We're coming out of the goddamn
Ready.
walls! Let's book!
New heading set.
Reading.
Strike fighter coordinates dialed in.
Attack vector dialed in. We're in the fight.
Support ready.
Tracking armored craft on approach. We've detected something.
Oh yeah,
Can you
here they
confirm
come.
visual?
Just gobs of
Ready.
them. Just gobs and gobs of
Hostile
them.
armor eliminated. Putting in a bullseye. 007 for 20. Weapons. Stand by for cruise missile
I'll
launch.
just shoot a
coordinates.
cruise missile that
Clear
way.
to launch. Listen up. Alert. Hostile battle cruiser inbound.
And kaboom! There goes that problem.
Reporting.
Rachel, how's the orbital weapon? It's about halfway recharged.
This is the captain. Get us moving. Get
I
us
wonder how the
underway.
orbital weapon works. It's
Operate.
never really
Lock us down for
described,
long-range travel.
you know,
Move
what
order
it
confirmed.
is exactly.
Overranged. Green line confirmed. Eyes on
Is
the
it like
horizon.
recharging from the power of a star or something? Like using solar energy to
Cruiser
create a
copy.
directed energy
Over
weapon? Is it
Gaalsien air
literally
units
just a
inbound.
ginormous orbital
Operating.
railgun or something? Or is it like an ion cannon or
Strike inbound.
what?
On our way.
It's never
This is
elucidated
Rachel
Hostile
on.
light attack
about what
vehicle
it is.
Visually authenticated. Artillery cruiser under attack. Units respond. Move into escort formation. Hostile interceptor destroyed.
Standing by.
Ready. Guard set for marked artillery. Crew ready.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Attack course set.
Runner. Orbital platform ready. Firing. Reporting.
Regain some of its health.
Contact.
Yes,
Enemy
it does
armor.
have repair
Bearing
abilities,
designated.
so you do want to
Hostile
keep up the
designated.
pressure on it.
Trackers assigned. Strike craft destroyed. Make ready. Enemy armor.
Maybe if the orbital weapon was more like
Armor
Project
online.
Tor. You know, like rods from God.
Battle report.
Yeah,
Enemy
that might be a little bit more
production
useful.
cruiser destroyed. Strike craft taking effective fire.
Green line confirmed.
This is the captain.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Green line confirmed. Engines hot.
Alright, what's this bomber going
Unidentified
for?
craft on approach. Mark the bounties.
Oh wow, you destroyed one little sand skimmer. Congratulations, buddy.
Attention.
Ready.
A railgun is taking effective fire. Reading. Alert. Hostile siege cruiser sighted. Go for hostile armor. Eliminate. Strike fighter taking hostile fire.
Support ready.
Kapisi copy.
Alright, here we go. Tom Cruise missile time.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
Fire!
Investigation sequence. Target set. Launch.
Yes, this
Alert.
cruise missile did its
Hostile
own
strike
stunts,
fighter
and
in
it ran
circulation.
really, really
Enemy
fast.
armor on approach. Enemy production cruiser has appeared in the AO.
Ooh, it didn't do much damage to the flagship. I think it, yeah, it turned, it missed. We missed!
We got something on the horizon. Waiting for eyes on to authenticate.
Tom Cruise missile doesn't miss.
Hostile interceptor down.
Well, I don't know about that.
Hostile light attack vehicle detected.
I mean, it's not a John Wick missile.
This is Rachel. Go ahead.
Artillery cruiser in contact. Provide fire support. Ready. Send.
Support ready.
Alright, satellite time. Let's do a big strike there.
Target area set. Firing.
I gotta say, that's much more impressive. Even if it doesn't do much more damage.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Strike systems online. Ready to burn. Alert. Enemy heavy cruiser detected.
Copy. On our way.
Reading. Ready. Send.
This is Rachel. Go ahead. Move out.
Railgun reading you. Scans active while we move. Reporting. Coordinates confirmed. Reporting. Green line confirmed. Crew ready. On our way. Go for ranged. Get us underway. Make ready.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Attack vector dialed in. We're in the pipe. I'm ready. Go ahead. Coordinates. Hostile detected. Visual unconfirmed.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
AO. Attention. Respond. Enemy airstrike inbound. Interceptor taking hostile fire. Reading. We got a railgun under
Oh,
fire.
dang it, I'm losing Group 3 units.
On our way. Alert. Railgun.
Yeah, I only have 3 railguns left. Darn it. Well, that's the way it is, I guess. My forces have become a little bit spread out here, but... Oh, now 2 railguns.
Ready. Tracking. Locked. Firing.
Hostile interceptor destroyed. Alert. Rachel is under fire.
Oh, she is she? I see.
Warning. Rachel's hull is at 75%.
Receiving.
Tracking armored craft on approach. Ready. Send.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed.
Enemy armor disabled. Attack course set. Reading. Enemy production cruiser sighted. Engage and destroy. Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Make ready.
Strike fighter
Battle
approach
report.
vector dialed.
Enemy honor guard cruiser destroyed. Engines on.
Copy that.
Proximity
And our
warning in
artillery
effect.
is
Hostile
effective, I will say that. You just watch the
Battle
health
cruiser
bars
is
just
making resistance.
drop.
Position marked. Go for order. Artillery cruiser under
Gaalsien air units inbound.
alert. Hostile strike fighter in circulation. We We've got hostile on census. Confirm visual. A railgun is taking effective fire.
Runner.
Railgun reading you. Combat relay. Hostile production cruiser eliminated. Establishing guard for battle cruiser. Hostile interceptor
Stand
down.
by. Move out and be ready.
I don't know what it was shooting at with that missile barrage, but it missed. Alright, cruise missile time.
Missile sequence initiated. Target set. Missile away.
Reporting.
Alert. Hostile battle cruiser inbound. This is the captain.
Alright, let's follow it up with airstrikes. Maybe we
Attack
can
vector
do a
dialed
little
in.
damage
We're in the
there.
pipe. Op ready. Attention. Enemy production cruiser has appeared in the AO. Alert. Hostile siege cruiser sighted. Full stand by. 050 for Canada. Interceptor taking fire. Alert. Strike fighter lost. Ready. Send. Go for artillery. Set new heading. Ready to give him hell.
Strike fighter online. Strike fighter ready for service. This is Rachel. Go ahead. Target area set. Firing.
The readings indicate their carrier's power systems are about to go critical.
Not just yet. I don't know about that. We still got some damage to
Strike
do
fighter
to
approach
it.
vector dialed in.
You're being a bit optimistic
Strike
there,
systems online.
Nathan.
Ready to burn.
Runner.
Or your
South officer
sensors
en
are
route.
off.
Go ahead.
Our readings indicate
Gaalsien air units inbound.
it's still got like a third of its health.
Authentication pending. Hostile light attack vehicle visually authenticated. Green line confirmed. Engines on. I can't shake it. Missiles in the air. Op ready. Take him out. Hostile armor eliminated. Enemy airstrike inbound. Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Alert. LAV down. Light attack vehicle is under fire. This is the captain. Hostile strike craft down. Kapisi copies.
Ready.
Attention.
Alright, something interesting seems to have happened here. It looks like the flagship has stopped moving for some reason. I think it might be actually stuck on terrain. Yeah, that fancy hover technology sure did you a lot of good, huh? Indeed, because normally in just about every other time I've played this mission, it does kind of chase you around the map. So you do have to keep moving, but it literally looks like here it's gotten stuck.
Reading.
Well, we will use that to our advantage then.
This is the captain.
It's nice and stationary.
Standing by.
Rachel, if you please, how could you miss that?
Uplink positive. Firing.
Unknown inbound. Designating hostile. Captain.
Cruise missile time.
Weapons. Stand by for cruise missile launch coordinates. Target locked. Fire. Alert.
We need to put some nuclear warheads on those cruise missiles.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
Fighter in circulation. Enemy contacts on the board.
Alright, we got it down to just a little bit of health.
Strike
Let's
fighter approach
blast
vector
this
dialed
thing.
in.
Strike systems online. Ready to burn. Alert. Artillery cruiser lost.
Blasted.
Ready. Send. Contact. Enemy armor. Bearing designated.
And we got a whole bunch of forces coming at us.
Strike fighter taking fire. Go for it. Alert.
Yikes, and
Strike
we
fighter
lost a whole
destroyed.
flight of strike fighters there.
Listen up. Alert. This is siege cruiser verified in the AO.
Strike fighter
Respawn.
approach vector dialed in.
Yeah, we
Attack
lost 2
vector dialed
flights.
in. We're in the
Okay,
fight.
well, we'll rebuild them. That's what we got. We got the money.
Assault cruiser ready.
That's why
for
they pay me the
assignment.
big bucks.
Cruiser copies. Get this cruiser into the fray. Enemy light attack vehicle marked on approach.
Control Group 9 designated.
Enemy armor disabled.
Support ready.
Alright, I think we're gonna take our stand here. Yeah, the Gaalsien flagship is stuck there. So it's just gonna send units from just one direction.
Artillery cruiser operational.
So, yep, we're taking our stand right here.
Strike fighter
We're gonna deal with
online.
anything that comes at us. And we need to get rid of the flagship.
Cruiser verified. Take it out. Rachel is taking
Oh, well, we
fire.
need to do that thing with the
Hostile
stuff. We just need to, like,
authentication pending.
kill the enemy and, yeah.
Ready. Reposition. Reposition. Got him in sight.
Battle report. Hostile siege cruiser eliminated. Attention. Hostile railgun
Fighter approach
opened up.
vector dialed in.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
We're in the fight.
Reading. Punch it.
Armor vehicle.
I wonder if
taking
it has a
effective
cap
fire.
on the number of units it can have on the map at any given time. I imagine there is.
Destroyed. Support
Otherwise,
cruiser under
you know,
attack. Immediate
a
fire support
computer in
on
2016 might be screaming at you. It already doesn't like, when I first played this game in 2016, it really didn't
Enemy
like
airstrike inbound.
the effects of the artillery barrages from our cruisers.
Hostile armor eliminated. Copy
Right,
that.
all those little tiny explosions and
Armored
effects
vehicle has
from the
been
smoke
destroyed.
and all that.
Alert. Battle cruiser is taking fire. Position
Yeah, my graphics card did not appreciate that.
marked. Hostile interceptor destroyed. Copy. Green line verified.
Support ready. Uplink positive. Firing.
Alright, looks like we almost got it.
This is the captain.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Attack course set. Receiving 5x5. Copy. Coordinates set. Go ahead.
Control Group 6 designated.
Roll out. Op ready. Enemy production cruiser sighted. Engage and destroy. Alert. Hostile siege
Fighter
cruiser
coordinates
sighted.
dialed
I think
in.
what we need are some hypersonic missiles, huh?
Make ready.
Alright,
Weapons
cruise missile
standby
time.
for cruise missile launch coordinates.
Or maybe it's like a
Target set.
Chinese
Launch.
DF-21.
Alert. Hostile
A
battle cruiser
anti-ship
inbound.
ballistic missile, supposedly one of the first that might be operational. So-called
Go
a
ahead.
carrier
Air
killer.
units inbound.
Fighter in circulation. We got something on the horizon. Waiting for eyes on to authenticate. Unidentified hostile incoming. Authenticate. Op ready. New target. Enemy armor disabled. Interceptor taking hostile fire. Reading.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Strike system battle report. Enemy production cruiser destroyed.
And we got a bunch of aircraft coming at us.
Ready.
Make ready. Go ahead. Alert. Support taking hostile fire. All hands. Hostile interceptor down.
Fighter coordinates
Armored vehicle is
dialed in.
taking fire. Strike systems online. Ready to burn. Alert.
by.
Missile battery destroyed. Strike craft taking effective fire.
Orbital
Alright,
platform
zap
ready.
it, Rachel.
Firing.
Off ready. Tracking armored craft on approach. Attention. Hostile
Strike
armor
coordinates
eliminated.
dialed in.
Hostile light attack vehicle detected. Ready. Send.
This is Rachel. Go ahead.
Go ahead. This is the captain.
Strike fighter approach vector dialed in.
Attack vector. Hostiles designated. Trackers assigned. Alert. Carrier hull at 75% integrity. Alert. Carrier is taking fire. Strike fighter taking hostile fire. Alert. Strike fighter lost. Kapisi copy.
Alright, in go our strike
Alert.
fighters.
Enemy heavy cruiser detected.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
Fight in the AO. Respond. Reading. Enemy airstrike inbound.
Runner.
Go for a
Hostile strike craft down.
fire smoke on marked position.
Support cruiser under attack. Immediate fire support on that position. Reporting.
Standing by.
Confirmed.
EMP.
Enemy siege cruiser destroyed. Enemy railgun eliminated. Armor vehicle taking effective
Oh,
fire.
I guess we didn't need Rachel's EMP.
Combat relay. Hostile production cruiser eliminated. Make ready.
Strike fighter coordinates dialed in.
Strike systems online. Ready to burn. Weapons.
All right.
Stand by for
Cruise missile
launch
time.
coordinates.
Let's take out the
Clear to
flagship.
launch. Go ahead. Hostile detected. Visual unconfirmed.
Alright, this should do it.
Ready.
One more cruise missile for the road, huh?
I have failed my people. My creator? The wrath of Seljuk will descend upon Kharak in an unimaginable hailstorm of fire and death. Know that you will one day bring this fate upon us all. Heed my words, Northerner. Seek his forgiveness before it is too late. Step into his light and be absolved.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
The truth of our origins is only now being revealed. Descendants of the great derelicts of Kharak, we are all one. We are all Kushan. My brother said, salvation lay in the desert. It's too early to know for sure if he was right, but one thing is certain. This is not the end, but rather a new beginning for us all.
Alright everyone, that was Homeworld Deserts of Kharak. So, let me give my review. As many know, Homeworld is one of my favorite gaming franchises, and I've been a pretty diehard fan since I played Homeworld 1 all those years ago in 2000. There's something about the art design, the world building, and the epic space opera storytelling that attracts me to it. In short, I primarily play the Homeworld games for the story. So, is Deserts of Kharak a good game? Yes, I'd say so. Is it perfect? No. Do I think the story is better than Homeworld 1? Not necessarily. Do I think the story is better than Homeworld 2? Yes.
Gaalsien air units inbound.
There's a funny little glitch. For whatever reason, that audio clip keeps popping up. Do I think Deserts of Kharak is a well-done prequel? Yes. As with my reviews of other games, I'll break down my thoughts on the gameplay mechanics, the story, the graphics, and the music, address both the positives and the negatives, and then we'll end off at that. So when it comes to the gameplay and the mechanics, the game played well without too many bugs or annoying mechanics in it, although the stuttering frame rate when the camera was focused on a group of aircraft was kind of annoying. I will say that I really liked how they managed to implement the terrain and have it play a role in the combat in terms of like line of sight and height, giving units a tactical advantage. The game was also significantly easier in terms of gameplay than Homeworlds 1 or 2, but that may have to do with the fact that this game actually has a difficulty setting. Again, I just played this on normal difficulty, so I don't really know how it plays on easy or hard. Furthermore, the difficulty and overall pacing of this game did feel much more incremental and consistent when you compare it with like Homeworld 1 or 2. In other words, it did not whiplash all over the place. So consequently, the game felt like it played much more quickly, and I could still play it at my own pace, which was really nice. Again, I didn't feel like I was being constantly prodded along, like when I played Homeworld 2, where like you had a trigger every so often. It's just like, hurry up, come on, up, no time to waste, let's go on, move it. I hated that about Homeworld 2. I found that I had to play most missions in this game only about once or twice before I got the hang of them and figured out where the triggers were. And I never had to revert my save back several missions just to prepare myself for the next one. There was no point in Deserts of Kharak where I got stuck. Now that being said, I will say that if you've never played any of the Homeworld games and you start with Deserts of Kharak, then don't expect the other Homeworld games to have a similar difficulty scale to this one. Like Homeworld 1, Cataclysm, from what I understand, and Homeworld 2 are considerably more difficult, probably because they come from an earlier era of video games. With regard to the controls, they worked pretty well and they were very intuitive. And I also really enjoyed the veterancy mechanic where units would gain certain perks or upgrades the more they survived combat. Combined with the persistent fleet mechanic that Homeworld is known for, it really gave the player an incentive to keep their units alive. On the downside, I would have preferred finer controls over the units, and it was difficult to get the aircraft to target a specific enemy unit. For example, I struggled to get strike fighters to take out the missile batteries first, but whatever. You'd also think that given the 3D nature of the previous games, that air battles would have played a larger role in this game, given that we are using aircraft carriers, albeit on land. But yet, air battles played no significant part in this game. Like, there was nothing in the game or the campaign analogous to, like, the Battle of the Philippine Sea or something, right? The Great Marianas Turkey Shoot or what have you. With, carriers launching strikes at each other and fighters getting into big, massive dogfights or whatever, big old furballs. That never happened in this game. Like you think there would be, but nope, there wasn't. Aircraft were only used for ground attack sorties, and there was not a dedicated fighter or interceptor or anything like that you could use for combat air patrol, like there would be in reality. But hey, I don't know, it's the Homeworld universe, right? The whole naval vibe of this game is a bit odd when you consider that the game is just one big, long road march with armored units. I wonder how many times they got their vehicles stuck in the sand and you had to stop to dig them out. As I mentioned multiple times before, I doubt a people from a desert planet would even have much of a concept of naval warfare. What you really have is basically an armored brigade or an armored division just following you around. So maybe if this was like an army operation, then it would make more sense. A desert of rolling sand dunes is not really analogous to an ocean. I mean, some people probably would argue that, sand dunes are like ocean waves or whatever. It's like, no, I disagree. Maybe if the sand dunes were constantly shifting and moving, every second or whatever, so you could not get any real sense of bearing or the distance you're covering, then yeah, it would be like an ocean, but no. I mean, big, large sand dunes like we're in the middle of the Sahara Desert, no, it's not like that. I mean, if any part of desert is like an ocean, it would be flat and featureless. That's not what we saw. So the naval officers and the terminology was a little bit strange. That being said, for the other Homeworld games, because they're set in space, I do think a naval theme is more appropriate. It makes more sense. But here, it's like we're Field Marshal Montgomery or Erwin Rommel running around the deserts of North Africa. So we're like the Desert Fox or whatever. I also feel that the lack of formations detracted from the depth of the gameplay as well. I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. And I think formations would have been really beneficial for the ground units. Perhaps the developers would have been better by studying armored warfare for the mechanics of this game. The inability to remap key bindings was also a tad bit annoying. Additionally, as with like Homeworld 2, I'm not a fan of the busy looking HUD that clutters up the edges of the screen, and I think it really detracts from the cinematic quality of these games. Again, you can, make it go away, but you can't control anything otherwise. I guess I just really prefer the minimalistic HUD of Homeworld 1 Classic, because there was no HUD until you pressed a button or moused over it. And I think Homeworld 1 Classic had a far more cinematic feel to it. The artificial intelligence of the enemy in this game was not terribly brilliant, in some ways of the friendlies as well, but that's never really been a hallmark of the Homeworld games. The enemy still spreads themselves out and comes at you piecemeal, allowing you to defeat them in detail. As long as you just mass your forces, then they don't present much of a problem. For all their high technology, the Gaalsien never seem to grasp the fundamentals of carrier warfare. Now that said, the last 3 missions were probably the toughest because a lot was thrown at you. But once you kind of learn their patterns, then they became a little bit more manageable. Still, at the very last battle with the Gaalsien flagship, it did send large amounts of units at you at any given time, so that did become a little bit more challenging. And it forced you to fight on the move. Had they been doing that the entire game, then the difficulty would have been much higher. Also, I found the fact that the final mission involving a huge battle directly around the Khar-Toba wreck, I think it was a little bit forced. Yeah, it just seemed a little bit too on the nose, you know what I mean? I think a better ending would have been to defeat the Gaalsien flagship off somewhere, before you had reached the Khar-Toba, and then the final cutscene would be Rachel coming over the sand dune in her base runner and arriving at the Khar-Toba wreck. Regarding the story, it was very entertaining, and the game did a good job of fleshing out the culture and society of the various Kithid on Kharak. It went a little bit deeper into their history. It also gave the player a more detailed look at the world of Kharak itself. Now, given the smaller scale of the story, I do feel that it was far better told than the one in Homeworld 2. Now, there were good setups and good payoffs, and the story, I felt, had really concrete beats that were well laid out. So it had a good flow, good pacing, and good setups and payoffs to it. The voice acting of the characters was good, and the use of more individual characters like Rachel or Nathan or, whoever, the captain or whatever, did provide for a more intimate story that the player could get behind. I also enjoyed the more idle radio chatter that you would hear of the various units throughout the fleet. I really think it breathed a lot more life into the fleet and made them seem a little less impersonal. Now, of course, this game does take place, like I said, on a smaller scale than the other Homeworld games, so it has that going for it. But I'm hoping that Homeworld 3, when it comes out shortly at the time I'm recording this, I'm hoping that Homeworld 3 does keep the scale much, much larger and much more grand, and doesn't bog down the story too much in individual characters. And to be honest, I prefer the characters in Homeworld to be a little bit more abstract, right? Homeworld has never been about personal stories, but about the journey of a people. I think Deserts of Kharak gets away with this, this more personal story because it is a smaller scale story. Now, I do have a few issues with the story. While there were a few retcons, I found them to be relatively minor and pretty forgivable. So, I'm willing to just brush those aside. But consider the plot in Deserts of Kharak and compare it to Homeworld 1, they're essentially the same, right? They're both road trips, right? You're just trying to get from point A to point B. I think my biggest issue with the story in Deserts of Kharak is I have to ask if it really is all that important or even necessary. One of the things that makes prequels risky is the fact that it can totally ruin the originals with retcons or even just giving the the viewer or the player way too much information. Oftentimes, prequels are not needed because the backstory is often better off just being left unsaid, right? Because your imagination can come up with something far more interesting than anything that the developers can. So, I mean, if you know what happens in Homeworld 1, then it almost makes this whole plot of Deserts of Kharak seem insignificant. The fact that Deserts of Kharak is really just a road trip across the desert to retrieve the MacGuffin totally pales in comparison to the fact that in 100 years after the events of this game, the Kushan are going to build their mothership, right, and journey halfway across the entire galaxy and overthrow a tyrannical empire in the process of reclaiming their homeworld. So, I don't know. I mean, one story just seems a bit more grand and epic than the other. I mean, Homeworld 1 summed up the plot of this game leading up to the launch of the mothership with a nice short cutscene. So I have to ask, do we really need to know the details of the Kapisi and their fight against the Gaalsien to reach the Khar-Toba? The events of Deserts of Kharak realistically probably would amount to just a paragraph or two in a Kushan history textbook when compared to the journey of the mothership to Hiigara. One strange thing about the plot was the existence of the Taiidan kill satellite, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, why did they even put it there? What were they planning on doing with it? It was just up there. It just seemed to kind of come out of nowhere, right? It just, there happens to be an orbital satellite just around Kharak for whatever reason. I suppose it kind of implies that the Taiidan Empire was continuously keeping tabs on the Kushan all this time, and hence why the fleet that destroys Kharak in Homeworld 1 arrives so quickly after the launch of the mothership. So the Taiidan Empire had kept an eye on the exiled Hiigaran people for 4,000 years, but that time frame was long enough for the Kushan to completely forget about their origins, to develop their own society, their own religion, have their own religious struggles, and so on and so forth, and then forget about their past and the no hyperspace technology treaty they apparently signed when they were exiled. But yet the Taiidan was keeping an eye on them, and they deployed this weapon in orbit over the planet, and whatever. Okay. In other kind of odd story beats, the sudden betrayal of the Sidim, the Sakala, does kind of come out of left field in a way. I don't think it was set up very well, or as well as it could have been set up. The hints are there about their prejudice against the Gaalsien and the bad blood, the bad history between them and other Kith, but I just didn't feel that there was very good build-up to it unless you really dug into the historical documents, the history of the people. I thought the setup with their betrayal could have been a little bit, had a better payoff, been set up better and all that. In terms of the Gaalsien, I actually think they were a decent protagonist, a decent antagonist. I thought they were okay at best. They were better than the Vaegir in Homeworld 2, I'll say. I mean, mostly because when you understand that the Northern Coalition is basically trespassing on their territory, and the fact that the Gaalsien are motivated by religious zealotry, and you know their history, then it's a bit more fleshed out, right? Additionally, knowing the Gaalsien's interpretation of their religion and the subsequent events of Homeworld 1, then you know that the Gaalsien were not entirely inaccurate about what would happen to the Kushan people and the planet of Kharak once they continued on into space. Yep, the wrath of God effectively came down on Kharak, and they suffered some pretty heavy divine wrath. But on the other hand, it's also stated that Kharak would become uninhabitable in about 100 years anyway, had they done nothing. So the Kushan people were basically caught between a rock and a hard place, right? Damned if they do, damned if they don't, right? They could have stayed on Kharak and never gone into space, but the planet wouldn't have been able to support them in 100 years, so... In terms of the graphics, on the positive note, I found that Deserts of Kharak really captured the design aesthetic and overall playstyle of the original. The vehicle designs, I think, retain that kind of blocky Chris Foss and Peter Elson design look that made the original Homeworld 1 so memorable. Overall, the game really looks like it belongs in the Homeworld universe. The graphics worked well, they were nice and detailed, although I didn't really find them to be mind-blowing or anything, but I think they were good for 2016 when I first played this game, and to be honest, I think the graphics still look good in 2023. I mean, they work. Now, for the cutscenes, I really liked the colorful and kind of impressionistic style that they went for. It was almost like looking at a Monet painting or something. It was different, from the hand-drawn black and white cutscenes of the originals. Now that said, I am kind of hoping that Homeworld 3 goes back to the original black and white cutscenes to sort of maintain a artistic continuity between Homeworld 1 and Cataclysm and Homeworld 2. Yeah, that's just my opinion, though. I mean, I think colorized cutscenes in Homeworld 3, while they would probably look really nice, would be a little bit jarring if you're really familiar with the series, right? Because you have black and white cutscenes in the first couple of Homeworld games, and then color cutscenes in the prequel, and it would just be kind of strange. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, the soundtrack by longtime Homeworld composer Paul Ruskay is excellent as usual. One thing I noticed about the soundtrack for this game is that it seems to focus a lot on bassy beats and a lot of drums. I wonder if Ruskay took a lot of inspiration from tribal music from this game. I mean, comparing it to other Homeworld games, it seems to have more in common with the Homeworld 2 soundtrack, which drew a lot of inspiration from Indian music. So I wonder if Ruskay took a lot of inspiration from African tribal music or something for this game. I don't know. I mean, when you compare it to the music of Homeworld 1, which has a lot of very minimalistic, kind of airy and spacey qualities to the sound, it's very different. I enjoyed it. I liked the music. I thought it was very appropriate for the setting, for the story and all that in Deserts of Kharak. So, I mean, Ruskay does not disappoint, I'll say that. And I do like that the final cutscene in the game used the music from the original Homeworld 1 from the first mission as they panned up to a shot of the Galactic Rim. I thought it was a pretty fun callback to the first game, as well as, of course, the earlier introduction of the Titan carrier. Anyway, so in conclusion, most of my gripes with this game are pretty small and nitpicky. Overall, I'd say that Blackbird Interactive has made a very competent prequel to the Homeworld series, and it fleshes out the Kushan people. Thankfully, they did not pull a George Lucas and suddenly give the Kushan magical powers with midichlorians or some weird retcon or whatever. Even though I don't feel that the story of this game was really all that necessary, I do feel that it was well told. It was logical and it was entertaining to play. Gameplay-wise, the controls were smooth and they worked well for the most part. The difficulty was far more incremental, and it did not require nearly as much trial and error as other Homeworld games. Again, I'll stress that if you've never played any of the other Homeworld games and you start with this one before moving on, then you might be surprised with the difficulty of the later Homeworld games, or, the original Homeworld games. Their gameplay and difficulty are much more inconsistent. I'll just say that. The best rationale I've heard for the existence of any prequel, whether they be movies or games or whatever, is that the prequels are only artistically justified if experiencing them makes experiencing the originals even better. And ultimately, I do feel that Homeworld Deserts of Kharak does just that. The design, the art direction, the music are outstanding, and they capture that Homeworld feel. Well, it doesn't really do anything really revolutionary in terms of being a ground-based real-time strategy game. I do feel that the story builds on the established lore, and I think it fits within the universe. I'd probably give this game a solid 8 out of 10. I think if you're a fan of the Homeworld franchise, then you'll probably enjoy this game. If this is any indication of the quality we can expect from Blackbird Interactive, then I think there's definitely some light at the end of the tunnel for Homeworld 3 being a good game. Anyway, that's all I have to say, so I will see you later, hopefully for Homeworld 3.
"100 years ago, a satellite detected an object under the sands of the Great Desert. An expedition was sent. An ancient starship buried in the sand. deep inside the ruin was a single stone that would change the course of our history forever. On the stone was etched a galactic map, and a single word more ancient than the clans themselves. Hiigara, our home.